Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. And looks like we've already built a nice little audience so far, and I know it'll build even more. But let me tell you what let's do. Let's go ahead and say hello to everyone that's joined us in the chat so far this evening, and that way we can let our friends know that we really appreciate them joining us on the show. And I'm going to actually silence my phone because you know what? This thing has got a really good chance of going off while we're on the show tonight. So it does most of the time. Sometimes people will send me texts and stuff during that. So I just want to make sure that it's silent so it doesn't make noise while we're doing that. So Mary Boysworth, welcome to the show tonight. And it was great. It's great to have you here. Cheryl Garcia, great to have you. Of course, it's Ben and Cheryl watching. We just don't get one. We get the duo. Cheryl Moulton, welcome to the show. Danielle Munoz, my favorite person from Georgia who has moved to Minnesota. Thank you, Danielle, for joining the show. Corliss Turner, thanks for joining the show. Charlotte Gellert, thank you for being here. Clayton Orwig, thank you for being here. William Campbell, my good friend William Campbell. Thanks as always for being here. Vuka Russo, thank you, Miss Russo, for being here. And Catherine Lynn, thank you for being here, Catherine. Thank you for joining this rendition of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. And as always, I ask you, my friends, please share, like the show. Let's let our friends and neighbors know that you're watching and you want them to watch with you because something may be said or something could happen that everyone needs to know because this week I'm not go back to my call my old name, but the Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox show, the most popular podcast in Rockdale County for local happenings. So let's continue to make it that way, and let's continue making me the most popular podcaster in Rockdale County. That's self-proclaimed. Nobody's done a poll. Nobody's done any kind of thing. That's just I've self-proclaimed myself the most popular podcaster in Rockdale County. As long as I think it and I say it, then it is. So, but I do appreciate you guys for indulging me and allowing me to think I'm the most popular podcaster in Rockdale County. First of all, I want to say I had a wonderful time yesterday at the Taste of Conyers. I did see a bunch of you guys at the Taste of Conyers yesterday. We seen a lot of vendors, a lot of good people out there, and it was a great event. Not only did I go to the Taste of Conyers and the car show there, but the Rockdale Career Academy uh, had an event yesterday where they had a cookout and a car show. So I went to both of them yesterday. I actually got over there before it ended up, and they were giving the awards out. We got to say hi to some people over there, and it was very good event. So I was glad I was able to hit both of those events before the rain came in yesterday. So Beth and I both we hit those events before the weather turned yesterday evening, and it was a good day. It was a very good day to hit those events, and I was glad to see a lot of the people I did. And it's just always so good to run into people. And I was talking yesterday, talking to a few people, and they say, "Man, I know your voice. I know your voice. It's going to come to me." And I say, "I'm Larry Cox," and they say, "I know you from your show." Man, I recognize your voice anywhere. And then, and I would talk to people and then introduce myself, and they say, "Aren't you on the board of education?" So, just meeting people out there and just letting them know. But I'm just telling you, I really enjoy doing this show. I enjoy talking to you, my friends. I enjoy talking to the citizens of Rockdale County, and I know this show gets repeated, and the broadcast gets watched. The recording does. So, starting here in a few weeks, I'm going to start having some guests on the show. So next week we'll talk about some of the guests that I'm going to line up. So we're going to line some guests up to come talk on the show and talk about some things here in Rockdale County and some things going on. It's always important to involve people in the community, let them come on the show, let them talk about what's going on, the things that are important to them. Because, you know, I include all of you every week with your comments. And it's one of the things that I like about this show. I like the fact that you guys can put what you're thinking up on this chat board, and that your neighbors and your friends can also see what you think is going on, because it's speak your mind. I'm speaking my mind, and you're also speaking your mind at the same time. And we're letting everybody in this community know how we feel. And that's important. It's important for people to know how we feel about what's going on. So, you know, I think one of the most important things going on in this community right now is Senate Bill 238, and the discussion that's going on about whether we should expand our commission and from 3 to 5 and change it to the county manager type system. Well, and I think you all know that I personally am in favor of expanding the board to 5 and implementing the county manager type system. I know a lot of people support that, and they support the commission system. And I think we're somewhat divided whether we think it should be at large or districts. I personally prefer the districts, but this current legislation has it at large. And Representative Taylor has promised that she will next year introduce additional legislation to change it from at large to districts. There are some people have echoed concern that, you know, they don't think that our legislature will do that or has the intention of doing that. Let me tell you, I've had conversations with State Rep Taylor. I know that she firmly intends to introduce legislation to change it from at large to districts if it passes in November. And that's if the governor doesn't veto it. So, you know, we all know that the board, the 3-member board, now sent a letter back on March 17th to the governor requesting that he veto it, because they want to do studies and talk about it and have more town halls. Now, there are some people suggest that we haven't talked about it enough. We haven't had town halls. Can I call bullshit? Did I say that out loud? Yeah, I'm going to say that bullshit. We've had town halls, we've had community meetings out the yin yang over the last 10 years. We've actually had 3 pieces of legislation, one in 2017, one in 2022, and then this piece of legislation. We've had 3 pieces of legislation. There was even another piece of legislation that I know of that was introduced back in 2006 to expand the board from 3 to 5. So we have had multiple pieces of legislation. We have had multiple ballot questions. We have had multiple conversations regarding this issue. This has been a hot topic in Rockdale County for 20 years. And for us to think we've not discussed it enough, that we don't know what's at stake, it's totally ridiculous to say that we've not discussed it and that we don't know what's at stake. We, the citizens, know what's at stake. We have discussed this at large. We have discussed this at town halls. We have discussed this in meetings that we've had privately, publicly, openly, in the dark room, in the light room. Trust me, this conversation has been discussed clearly. And the citizens of Rockdale County have an opinion. So let me tell you what. I personally believe this is what we need to do. Hey, if you don't want it, the governor, these things are going to happen. Either the governor's going to sign it, not sign it, or veto it. If he doesn't veto it and it goes forward, then go and vote for it, or go vote against it. If you can't vote, then you don't do anything. You stay home and you watch. But if you can vote, then go vote for it or vote against it. Vote it up or down. But this thing that they said when the chairperson said that they don't have to discuss things with us when it's an urgent issue. Let's talk about timeline with that urgent issue and not having to discuss things with you, the citizens of Rockdale County. Sort of sounds reminiscent of an old administration that had to educate you all the time and didn't discuss things with you. So this is the way this works. That letter was sent on March 17th. The governor doesn't have to make a decision until May the 14th, one of those three decisions, either to sign the legislation, veto the legislation, or don't do anything and let it pass. So that's 2 months. That's a 2-month window. But it was so urgent that they couldn't have a discussion with you about sending the letter. And if a comment hadn't have been heard at the retreat, which a lot of citizens don't go to, you, the citizens of Rockdale County, would have never known that a letter was sent by this commission. Now, let me ask you a question. Doesn't that sound familiar when they tried to have a secret, the past administration wanted to have a secretive board to determine a courthouse administrator. They want to have that secret board. And they'd already met once before we knew it, and it got exposed. And then they had to come out of the darkness and recognize the committee and start having meetings in public and follow the law. So I'm not saying that this board broke the law when they sent the letter, because now they all have assistants. The two part-time commissioners have two $80,000 assistants. The chairperson has the CEOO, which used to be the county manager, or not the county manager, but the administrative assistant, or whatever it was that Corey Hambrick used to be, and Jamie Cabe used to be, whatever that position was. I forget what it was called. And now they actually have a secretary that they share together, the COO and the chairperson. So, we got a board that, they didn't cut staff. They added staff. They added assistants. So, I'm just thinking to myself, it was not urgent, wasn't that urgent to do that when you had a 2-month window. You can't say it was so urgent that we could, Chief of Staff. Thank you, Catherine Lynn, Chief of Staff. You couldn't say it was, you can't really with a straight face say it was so urgent that you couldn't talk to the citizens. So urgent you couldn't talk to the citizens. If you don't make a decision in 10 seconds, something may happen. If you don't make a decision within the next few hours, something may happen. Even if something is a week away, you still need to have a meeting and let the citizens know what's going on. If you're our government, and let me tell you something about it, our government. Do you think our government needs to determine our local government? We as citizens get to decide what our local government looks like. And we as citizens requested citizen legislation, which is what this is. This bill is citizen requested legislation that legislators asked. We don't always get it exactly the way we want it, and they don't always get it exactly. Sometimes it takes going back to the drawing board and working on it, tweaking on it. Let's talk about the homestead legislation that was just passed and we voted on. The state legislature did not go to the counties, the cities, or the boards of education and ask them, do you want us to introduce this legislation to implement homestead restrictions? They did not go to any of these entities and ask. They introduced this legislation and they put it on the ballot for you, the citizens, to decide. That's what we've done. That's what we've done. We have done this for years. We have done this for years. We have heard this nonsense for years. That is what we have heard. Nonsense for years. Then you got folks aligning themselves with these 3 commissioners right now. They don't want 5 commissioners at all, whether it's by district or at large. They don't want a county manager at all. They're using this as the delay tactic. How do officials stop legislation? They delay it. They delay legislation to freeze it and stop it. That's what this attempt is. This isn't an attempt by this county commission to actually give us a year to see what we can do. No, this is let's pause it, delay it, freeze it, and move past it. That's exactly what this is. This is the song and dance that we have got from this commission, no matter who has been in charge for years. It's the song and dance of the county commission because they want the all-powerful three. They want the chairperson to be the king or the wizard or whatever we're going to call them at the time, because that person wields too much power. They say, well, it won't work. Look at Newton County. We picked the worst county probably in Georgia, where the FBI has indicted several of the commissioners. But let's talk about the county manager or city manager position for a minute. Seems to work quite well for the city of Conyers. They have a city manager. They have a mayor. City manager runs the day-to-day operation. They have council members, right? Council members, mayor, city manager. Council and the mayor set the policy. They set the direction of the city, and the city manager runs the day-to-day operations without conflict of any of the elected officials. It would be the exact same way with the county. The board of commission, the 5 commissioners, who would be led by a board, a chairperson who would just lead the meetings and be the figurehead board chair. And they would set the policy, set the direction of the county. And the county would then be run, the day-to-day operations would be run by the county manager. No difference. It is an effective means of running a municipality or a county that is used all over the state of Georgia. All of our neighbors have that form of government, actually. All of our neighbors. Henry County, Walton County, they have that form of government. DeKalb County has that form of government, but not Rockdale County. Rockdale County, like we want to have what we want, right? We it's not us, it's our elected officials. They say they change. They say they want to listen to you, but do they really want to listen to you? Just asking these questions, right? A lot of what I say, I'm asking questions. Fair to ask questions. And it's fair to give my comment and my opinion. Because I believe at the end of the day, this was citizen requested legislation that passed the Senate and the House overwhelmingly, correct? And you and I and everyone who can vote deserves the opportunity to actually go to that ballot box in November and decide if we want that or not. We shouldn't have 3 people tell us they don't give us another year and let's think about it. The give us a year is nothing but a delay tactic. A delay tactic that government uses to stall legislation. This is a tactic to stall legislation, to kill the legislation so that the status quo can continue. If you want the status quo, then by all means, tell the governor to veto the legislation. But if you want progress, then tell the governor, let it be and let it fly, and let us, the citizens of Rockdale County, and those of you who oppose it, then oppose it and campaign against it in November and give your reasonings, but don't gaslight, because let's not gaslight. I see a lot of gaslighting going on right now. Really, really do see a lot of gaslighting, because at the end of the day, it needs to be your decision and your vote. That's what it needs to be. That's what it needs to be. Your decision, your vote. If you want this, then in November you vote yes. And if you don't want it, then you vote no. That's what you do. I've been to town halls. I've been to meetings. I've been to all these things. And you go and there's a room of 90 people and 88 of them say they want want 5 commissioners. You go to a room and there's 100 people, and 80 of them will say they want a county manager. You go to these rooms, you talk to the people of Rockdale County, you have one-on-one conversations, which I've done for the last 10 years. For the last 10 years, I have talked to more people about the 5-person commission and the county manager than probably any other person in Rockdale County. And I dare anybody to challenge that I haven't. I dare anyone to say that I haven't made this an issue of mine, and I have not had this conversation continuously and weekly and almost daily for the last 10 years. And I have. And if someone says I haven't, then you're gaslighting and you're lying. Because I'll tell you right now, I have. I have continuously had this conversation because it's something I believe in, that I believe. And let me talk about something else. Compromising government. Do you know why we're so screwed up on the federal level right now? It's because of partisanship. It's because we won't compromise on anything. You've got one side stuck their way, the other side stuck their way, and there's nothing in the middle. Well, let's talk about this 238 for a second. If somebody's argument is they want 5 commissioners, they want a chairman, and they want it by districts, well, this legislation doesn't do all that. It gives you 5 commissioners, and it gives you an administrator, and it gives them at large. The last time I count, that's 2 out of 3. That's getting 2/3 of what you wanted, with legislators promising they'll correct that third and give it to you later. The last time that I checked, if you get 2/3 of what you want, that's a win. When did that become a loss? When did that become a loss? When did that become a loss? When? When did that become a loss? It has never become a loss. It does not become a loss. I have offered many different compromises as far as to expand this board that I felt were compromises that I could live with as long as we had 5 people making those decisions. I'm not stuck in one direction saying it has to be this way or that way. I'm willing to compromise, and a lot of people aren't. Compromise is where we need to go. We need to compromise. We need to compromise. We need to compromise. And that's what I have to say. We need to compromise, and we need to realize that this is what we need to do. This is the right thing moving forward. The right thing moving forward is letting the people of Rockdale County decide. If they vote this down in November, then we know they didn't want it. If they vote it up in November, we know they do. And you go back to the drawing board. But I've been to the meetings. I've heard the people talk. I've heard what they want. And I'm not willing to say that I didn't hear them. And because I don't agree 100% with what this legislation, that I just want to stop it and freeze it and not have something happen. That's not what we need to do. We need to do the right thing for the citizens of Rockdale County. We need to do the right thing for the citizens of Rockdale County. And there's no such thing as a bad compromise, Alex. You may think so, but I'm going to disagree with you on this. What we don't compromise now, and that's why we have gridlock. That's why we have all this fighting that we have in Washington. That's why we have this terrible government that we have, is because people can't get along. Ronald Reagan was able to compromise with Tip O'Neill. Bill Clinton was able to compromise with Newt Gingrich. Both of those were effective presidents. One was a Republican and one was a Democrat. And they were both effective because they were able to compromise. Both of them, in my opinion. And that's what we need to do. We need to learn the art of compromise, because compromise and being in that middle is where we need to be, and not extreme one way or the other. Extremism causes conflict. It causes divide. It causes a country to have a civil war. It causes neighbors to not like each other. That's what it causes. But when we can when we can look at issues that we all agree on and focus on those things, then we have an opportunity to move forward as a community and a country, and we can work together to make things happen. That's what I think. Say you're personally a fan of gridlock, and that's ridiculous. You can be a fan of gridlock all you want, and that's fine. And that's great. But that's not, that's not what it should be. We should have compromise. We should have government that works together for the people, of the people, and by the people, and not gaslighting going all the time. And that's what we have. We have government that gaslights us all the time, and is not sincere and honest with us. Because if we don't get our way all the way, then we get mad. We start calling each other names, and we just push back. That's not what we need to do, is it? We can agree to disagree on the things we disagree about, but we can agree on the things we do agree about and work on them together, and then compromise on the things that we don't agree on. That's what we can do. I believe that Rockdale County does have a bright future, but it's going to take compromise, and it's going to take us working together and not against each other. And we start that by realizing, let's let the people have their vote. Let's vote in November, up or down. Governor Kemp, let the people of Rockdale County decide what their government looks like. Let the people of Rockdale County have their vote, up or down, because that ultimately, that's who it is. We talk about we don't want to suppress people's vote. This would be voter suppression by not letting the people have the ability to vote on a ballot referendum. That's voter suppression. You can disguise it, hide it, gaslight it all you want, but that's what it is. It is voter suppression. And I'm not going to take part in that, and I'm not going to support that. So you're going to have me supporting letting the people deciding their own fate and voting in November, up or down. And if they vote it down, then the people have spoken. And if they vote for it, the people have spoken. But that's who need to speak. It's the people. And remember, this was such an urgent issue. They sent a letter on March 17th regarding a decision that doesn't have to be made till May the 14th, 2 months later. But it was so urgent, they couldn't discuss it with you, the citizens of Rockdale County. It was so urgent, they couldn't discuss it with you, the citizens of Rockdale County, because of something that was going to be had to be decided in 2 months. That's not an urgent matter. And it would not have been known if it wasn't a comment that was heard at a retreat, which is something that is not attended by a lot of citizens, which one of our citizens overheard. And it's similar to when people accidentally found out that they were having these administrative courthouse meetings before the PFA thing got hijacked, right? It's very similar playbook. That's what I call it, the playbook. So it doesn't matter who's in office, they got the same playbook apparently. They got that playbook printed up there at the Main Street, and they all get to go look at it, and that was interesting. So that was very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, that's all I'm gonna talk about that tonight. But it was a good 30-minute conversation, a robust 30-minute conversation that I think you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed, and good dialogue, and good, gets the blood flowing a little bit. But that's okay, right? It's okay, because you get to speak your mind, get your blood flowing, make sure that cardiovascular things is going on. Kelly Fard's going on for 15 years. Thank you, Kelly, for interjecting that. Kelly knows Rockdale County politics very well. Clayton, the lack of transparency by far the most troubling for me. Retreats, agenda amendments, especially during the holidays. Let me put that up there, Clayton. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Clayton. Go ahead. Yep, I agree with you 100%. And Kelly, the last 15 years, very true. So, guys, I mean that's that. That's enough conversation for that this evening, and we'll probably touch on it again next week because let me see here, we got 10 more days before the governor has to do something, do nothing, or veto. That's he can sign it two different ways. He can sign his name, he can sign veto Governor Kemp, or he can just leave it be and let it go. 2 out of 3 ways it comes to you, and then the other way it doesn't come to you. We'll see what happens. Either way, I'm comfortable with my opinion on this. And I think you are too. Miss Van Ness says so. She said, I'll bring some clarity to your comments if you have time. We can schedule a show next week if you want to and come on and you can talk about it and put some clarity to my comments. I'm perfectly fine with that. We can definitely do that. But I think we've talked this issue to death since we've talked this issue to death for the last 20 years. I mean, it's not a secret. I mean, it's not, and it wasn't a secret that people knew that this legislation was coming. That wasn't a secret either. To be honest with you, it wasn't a secret. So that's that. But let's talk about some other. Went to the Taste of Conyers yesterday, right? Next Sunday is Mother's Day, but you know what? I'm still having a show on Mother's Day, Charlotte, because even mothers like watching Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. Now I have my show on all holidays. I don't stop the show for anything. In the last year and a half, I didn't have the show a few weeks ago, and it was because I did not have internet service where I was at. I had internet service, but it wasn't strong enough to do a broadcast. So I actually didn't have the show because the place I was at, it did not allow me to do that. It didn't let me. So yeah, that was my deal. That's what I see. But yeah, Taste of Conyers yesterday. So I went to Taste of Conyers yesterday, and everybody knew the weather was coming. So a lot of times when they knew the weather was coming, sometimes they don't set up. But you know what? A lot of vendors set up. Still, a lot of the cars were there. I think people knew the weather was going to come early afternoon, so you had a lot of people come, and they set up, and people came to the event early. So I think for people knowing the inclement weather was coming, I think that was it was very very well attended with people knowing that it was going to be a lightly attended show. I mean, because of the weather, the incoming weather. But the people who were there were enthusiastic. There were the vendors were there, and there were some guys there. And I wore another one of my dog shirts yesterday, and one of the guys who was a vendor there said, "Hey, you were here last year and you had a dog shirt on." I said, "Yep." And he said, "You told me where you ordered your dog shirt," and he actually had ordered a Hawaiian shirt, and he ordered and he had the characters of like him and his business partner were on the shirt. And he said, I decided to do those kind of shirts because of what you did with your dog shirt. So I went on the website on Amazon and you told me about, ordered those shirts. And he said, I want to thank you for recommending those type of shirts to me, that he really enjoyed it. So I was glad, that I was able to help somebody to make a decision on their shirts. But that would be interesting, right? So that's, I liked it. I mean, I liked, talking to those folks yesterday. And then, and I did run into a lot of different people yesterday at the Taste of Conyers, and, people were excited about what was going on. And that was very, very, very interesting. So it was good. It was a good day overall. And I love it when we have these kind of events. And I'll tell you, Nick, I think the next thing they have, I think when they have the fall festival, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can rent a booth for the Speak Your Mind show. So I think what I'll do is see about renting a booth for Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. We'll do some remote things and some remote little interviews and some go lives there, whatever. But I think it'll be a good thing to do that. I've not done any of that yet, right? We've not exposed the show to these kind of events, but I think that's what we'll start doing here in the near future. Is I think we'll start getting a booth and a table at the Cherry Blossom Festival. 2 or 3 things a year, and start putting up a booth and letting you guys come by the table and say hi and let's meet and greet. I think it'll be a good thing. Do some selfies and all that. And I think that's something that we'll like. That we would like to do together as a community. And I think you guys will enjoy meeting me. And you know what? I think I'm even going to do? I think I'm going to bring my man Tucker Cox. When we do that, I think I'll bring Tucker out to the booth, and we'll let you guys meet Tucker and get to know him, because Tucker's a big part of the show, big part of the community. Just people need to start meeting and greeting Tucker. So he's a wild little dog, and I'd like you guys to get to know him. So that was what I would like to do. So guys, I'll tell you what, I am going to go ahead and just get off this evening because I've had enough. I think gaslighting starting on the show tonight, so we'll go ahead and get off so that my show can't be used as a promotion of gaslighting. So